Let's talk about something a little funny right now. Kootenai. How the fuck do you pronounce that? Kootenai. It's a town in Idaho. Why am I talking about some basically little hick-ass town in the middle of goddamn nowhere? Because that's what it looks like. Well, the Kootenai G.O.P put out this ridiculous ad. This incredibly ridiculous ad that I want to share with you guys. It is hilarious, and you guys are going to love this. Let's go ahead and turn on my window here. This is the infamous Mom, What Is Anal Sex ad from the Kootenai G.O.P.
Mom, I'm home.
Hi, honey. I'm in the kitchen. How are you today? How was school?
We went to the library today, and there's a special room for kids. And this funny lady, she read us a book, and she showed us all the pictures in the book. The lady gave me a hug, but I could feel her face was really scratchy, like Dad's face.
Oh.
So you can see where this is going. Right, folks? You can see where this is going. I like how the voice actress they got for this is obviously not a child. Like, it sounds like an anime voice actress. You know, like it's somebody doing a little kid voice, but you can tell that they're like 35 or some shit. So yeah, you can kind of see where it's going. You know, a little bit of anti-trans hatred here, some transphobia, some bigotry. Let's continue.
Oh, what was the book about?
Oh, it was about moms and dads and there were kids and stuff doing things like kissing each other, and some of them didn't have any clothes on.
Oh, my.
Mommy?
Some of them didn't have any clothes on. That's always, yeah. I mean, remember, folks, this is the stereotype. The stereotype is that the evil trans drag queens are coming to brainwash your children with pornography in libraries, right? Because everybody knows when you want to go masturbate, the place to go is the public library. Everybody knows that. That's where you get your best spanking materials, huh? You can just check it out for free with a library card. Let's continue.
Mommy?
Yes, honey.
What's anal sex?
Our library boards have allowed for adult materials to be displayed in the children's sections. Visit cleanbooksforkids.com to see for yourself.
Mommy, what is anal sex?
Oh my god. So this is a real advertisement. This is not a Saturday Night Live skit. This is not some kind of thing that somebody made to troll Republicans or whatever. No, this is a real ad that they played, and it was effective. The two assholes they were trying to get elected to the library, the school board, actually won because of this ad. But I wanted to share this with you guys because I thought this shit was hilarious, right? So first off, I really, really liked the complete stereotypes there. Oh, some of them were about kids and they didn't have any clothes on. You're like, no. So the whole point that everybody is so scared about here is, of course, the drag queen story hour thing, right? Now, first off, how often is that even a thing? Drag queen story hour. The way that the GOP says it, it makes you kind of think it's happening 24 hours a day in every, like, school, library, and public library across the country, isn't it? And no, those are very just relatively recent events that are basically designed to, in order to teach kids about inclusivity and to stop, to prevent kids from becoming bigots. Why does somebody become a bigot? Why would somebody become hateful and transphobic and bigoted against gay and trans people in the first place, right? Well, if you don't know any people who are gay, if you don't know any trans people, if you don't know any drag queens, it's a lot easier to believe stereotypes about them. And especially when it comes to children, how do children learn about bigotry? Children learn about bigotry from their parents. Their parents, their older siblings, and sometimes their friends. When you get a little bit older is when you learn shit from your friends. But when you're a very small child, usually it's your parents. Usually you hear your parents say something bad. I know all about this. My dad was racist as hell. My dad was a cop. Fucking racist. And, you know, not that I don't love my father, but he was. I mean, he's much more cool nowadays. You know, now that he's not a police officer anymore, he seems to have calmed down a lot. But now, he was a racist fucking cop. He was. I mean, I'm not trying to... I'm not sugarcoating it. That's the truth, right? I know all about this stuff. This is where you learn this kind of thing. You learn it from your parents. You learn it from your siblings. And how do you combat racism and bigotry and homophobia and transphobia? How do you combat that with very small children? You humanize people. That's how you combat bigotry. You combat bigotry by humanizing people. Someone who actually knows and has a friend who is black or gay or trans or whatever is a lot less likely to believe in stereotypes of them. Because then they see the stereotype and they go, oh, well, my friend whatever, you know, that I know, my friend James or whatever their name is, for example, well, they know, you know, they're like my friend and they're like trans and they don't fit this at all. Why are these people telling me these lies? And this is especially when it comes to conservatives, for example, who are notorious for not giving a shit about people or things or issues that don't affect them directly. Well, you know something, folks, children are kind of think like that too. Children kind of don't really care about stuff unless it affects them directly. And this is how you get people to care. This is what the whole point of these sort of drag queen story hour things are all about, is to teach children how to be accepting of people, right? How to be accepting of people who are different from them. How to combat bigotry. And who's a better teacher to teach you about somebody who's different than a drag queen? I mean, drag queens are that's what they're all about, being individuals and like not giving a shit about what other people think. That's the entire point of being a drag queen, is to live the way that you want to live, express what you want to express, and if somebody doesn't like it, fuck them, you know? So who's a better teacher to teach you about, you know, tolerance and how to accept people for who they are than somebody who lives the way they want to live? I suspect that's why the drag queen story hour things are so popular and why you see them in the news so much. And why they happen so much is because they're effective, which means the right wing has gone apeshit trying to stop them. So that's the thing about it, right? Something to talk about the Kootenai G.O.P. This area seems to be filled to the brim with the worst chuds in basically the world. Like, in the country, I guess, live in this area. I mean, yeah, it's a super conservative, super rural sort of area in Idaho. So, yeah, you're not going to be getting lots of progressives out here anyway. But, yeah, lots of kind of the biggest sort of asshole conservative chuds you can imagine live in this area. White supremacists, anti-Semites, insane wannabe insurrectionists, militia assholes, and just all around fucking morons kind of live in the Kootenai G.O.P. Even though this is one little small town in the middle of rural bumfuck Idaho, in the middle of nowhere, they seem to have some national connections. For example, Marjorie Taylor Greene was speaking at one of their dinners here This is Marjorie Taylor Greene on Twitter. I'm excited to see beautiful Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and speak at the Kootenai County GOP Lincoln Day dinner. Why would Marjorie Taylor Greene fly out to the middle of nowhere, Idaho, to speak to a town full of yokels? Well, remember, Idaho is, first off, a swing state that has a lot of electoral college votes. I think they have somewhere around 20. Idaho is also where one of the early GOP primaries are at. They're like one of the early ones that happen. And it's where you can go when you're, especially for Republicans, where you're trying to go and get the Republican nomination. You go to, like, you have to stump in Idaho first, and then you get momentum, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So, yeah, they're like, even though it's like this one little tiny ass town filled with a bunch of like Nazis and fucking rednecks and shit, they've got a little bit of power. Here's another one where they're like welcoming fucking Kyle Rittenhouse. Hundreds of Kootenai County residents, including GOP Chair Brent Reagan, personally welcomed Kyle Rittenhouse and family to relocate to North Idaho's Coeur d'Alene. Am I pronouncing that right? I didn't take French. So yeah, they want him. There's a guy that got famous by shooting 2 people at a protest and, killing them because one of them threw a water bottle at him. Come to our state. You can shoot all the people you want in our state. You can shoot all the liberal protesters you want. Come fucking murder people in our state here. Here is the Kootenai GOP endorsing an anti-Semite for school board in Post Falls, Idaho. Not going to read this entire thing. Long story short, this guy named Dave Riley basically decided he was going to run for the school board, and the Kootenai GOP endorsed him. So yeah, they're kind of filled to the brim with, like I said, the worst fucking people in the country. And they're spending money to basically fucking spread around hate and bigotry. And it's working. And I don't know, I just thought that shit was hilarious. There's not really much of a point I have to this. I just wanted to show you the what's anal sex ad there. And because that's what passes for rational discourse when it comes to politics in this country. Here's the thing about this, my final thing I want to say about this, right? There was a time when something like that would have been like laughed off of the air. Okay, not that long ago, within 15, 20 years ago, if the Republican Party, if somebody were to put out an ad, just that ad right there, it would have been mocked on a national scale. It would have been passed around through every nightly TV variety show where, people like fucking late night hosts and stuff would be making jokes about it. It would have been the butt of everybody's jokes for months on end, and everyone involved in it would have basically retired in shame for having something like that that's so fucking stupid. And nowadays, that gets passed around, and it's like, not only is it nobody even noticed it. It got like zero national attention. It was an ad put out by a prominent GOP organization that has a little bit of power on a national scale, even though it's like from a small town in the middle of nowhere. No one said anything. It's been normalized. That kind of ridiculousness that we saw in that ad is normal now, that no one cares. You can basically say any kind of ridiculous horseshit you want. You can use all of the whatever hateful dog whistles you feel like. Nobody cares. Right? You can make whatever ridiculous, outlandish, untrue claims that you want. Nobody cares. Because everything has been pushed so far to the right in this country that it's like open season on the truth. When they say we live in a post-truth era, they really mean it. We really do live in a post-truth era. We really do. It doesn't matter what the truth is. It doesn't matter anything. You can basically say whatever you want and get away with it because no one gives a shit anymore. Because it's not about what's real. It's not about what's true. It's not about what actually happened. It's all about optics. Looking good, making your opponents look bad, and poning the libs. And that's what's really wrong with this country. Maybe if we can, like, get it back to a point where the people who try to pull stunts like this end up out of a job, maybe we might be able to save America. Anyway, just wanted to comment on that because I thought that shit was hilarious. One more little comment on there. I really like how that ad just sort of capitalizes on the fact that conservative parents are bad parents. It really sort of capitalizes on that because what is that ad really saying? It's really saying, hey, I might have to tell my kid about something embarrassing that I don't want them to know about because I'm too much of a stuck-up prude in order to actually be an effective parent. That's what that ad is really saying. That ad is really saying, hey, I want to shelter my child and not tell them about the real world or how people really act. I want to do this, and I want the state to enable the sheltering of my child. That's what it's really saying. That's what it's really doing there, you know. I mean, God forbid you might actually have to be an actual parent and actually teach your child about something. God forbid. Because, you know, I don't know if you guys understand or if you guys know, but your kid, especially the child, let's take, you know, that child in the ad there was supposed to be a very small child, but anyone past the age of grade school in this country, if even that, they know what sex is, right? Do you have a teenage or even like a preteen child? Do you have one? Boy or girl, doesn't matter. Your kid knows what anal sex is. Do they have internet access? Then they know what it is. Does your kid have a phone where they can get on the internet? Then they already know what it is. They already know what anal sex is. They already know what oral sex is. They already know what all of the weird-ass fetishes are. They already know about all of that stuff. Guarantee it. Right? Because even if they're not, even in your house, if your house is 100% locked down and you've got like child locks on everything and you know they have to put in a code in order to use the internet and you block it off and you say, okay, you're only allowed to spend 30 minutes a night and it's supervised and you're only allowed to go to YouTube and also like, I don't know, Answers in Genesis or some shit. Like even if you've got it like completely locked down and there's no way that they could ever get their hands on porn or view porn in your house, do they go to their friends' houses? Guess what? They're looking at porn. Okay. And when you're not around, they're circumventing all of that shit. They already know how to do it. They do. Your kids today are way, way more computer savvy than my generation ever was. And my generation was the first generation to grow up with this shit. You know, I first got the internet in 1993. I think is what it was. Back in the fucking like CompuServe Prodigy days, there was porn there too, but it wasn't like today. I mean, it was all slow and like dial up and shit, but still, that didn't stop me. And if I could find it as a teenager, downloading fucking like slowly loading GIFs and stuff, if I could find it, I guarantee you they can find it now too. No matter what you fucking do. You can't control your kids. And that's the point I'm trying to make here, is that it's don't try. Don't try to control your children. Right? Explain to your children. Don't try to restrict them, because you can't. Explain to them. Right? Explain to them what it is and why it's wrong and why you don't want them seeing it and why you don't want them watching it. And expect full well that they're going to do it anyway when you're just not around. But explain these things to them. If you really think that pornography is harmful, and it can be harmful, I'm not saying it can't be, it can be. If you really believe that and you really don't want your kids to do it, then you need to talk and parent your children. That means helping them to understand and teaching them things. And I just really love how this ad kind of banks on the fact that conservative parents are too fucking lazy to do that. They want the state to do it for them. They're all too fucking happy to have that big government around when it's like they're the ones who get to dictate what that government's doing. They're all too happy to have that big government. They want the government to be small so that they can cut taxes and drown it in a bathtub, blah, blah, blah. Not when it comes to what, you look and do on the internet and what your children see on the internet. No. When it comes to there, they want huge fucking government. They want government that is like so big and so strong that it's like forcing people to fucking basically obey their will. That's what they fucking want. It's hypocritical bullshit, folks. Hello folks, if you like what I do and you want to support the channel, please consider buying something from my Etsy shop, supporting me on Patreon, liking and subscribing, and checking me out across my social media links listed below. Thank you all so much, and see you next time.